Hello everyone and welcome to the Shadwell Scoop. My name is Alex, or as most of you know me, Al Maktoum Racing Club, and I follow the Shadwell blue and white colours. Today with me I have Ashley Cliff from, well, he's in Leeds at the moment in Dubai most of the time, where he's somewhat of a tipster. Would you like to introduce yourself, Ashley?
I would. Hi there, guys. My name's Ashley, as Alex quite rightly said. I lived in Dubai for 6 years before moving to the UK for university. Follow racing on a weekly basis, and just going to try and give you guys some tips for the upcoming features of the racing calendar.
Great, yes, I can't wait for the Guineas myself. I've got some good picks. I'm going to start off myself going through some of the latest winners for Shadwell and Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum. We had Ibn Malik, who won on the 13th of April. Actually, he beat Scrutiner, if I remember correctly. Of course I do. And Great Page by 2 lengths and 2.5 lengths in a handicap. Pretty open handicap. Catchy looked like the one who could improve here. Possibly go on to the Guineas, but didn't find that much. I was quite impressed with Ibn Malik myself. A front running performance. He should definitely come on for that run, I think, and potentially go into a conditions or even a listed race in the future. Did you see the race, Ashley?
I did indeed, yeah. He was very impressive, and he's got a good strike rate as well, 40%. Very impressive as a 2-year-old last year. Never been outside the top three, so he's got the talent. It just depends on where connections want to go with him next.
Yes, definitely. He's got 2 entries. One here for the Derby, which I think is a bit of a push, but you never know. You never know. There's another horse I thought was quite impressive. Only 3 days later in Tasleet. He showed a good attitude, really. He didn't look like the stayer in the race, but he came second over a 7 furlong trip before to Sanas Paraquam, who looks quite a good horse to follow. Tasleet's got some nice form behind Sharla, and coming into this race, he was the odds-on favourite at 4. He went off at 4-7. You could have backed him around evens the night before, something like that. And he led from the front, just like Ibn Malik did. He beat Knife Edge by a short head and Logout Island, who didn't stay the trip, for 12 lengths worth. Logout Island looks like he needs a much shorter trip, obviously. But Knife Edge should improve for that run. I'd take Tasleet out of that myself, though. In the the green and the Group 3, he should definitely improve as well. Just the same as Ibn Malik. He will improve. They've put Tasleet in the Irish 2000 Guineas, which could be up his street, definitely. I'm not sure why I wouldn't go for the normal Guineas there, but you never know. You never know. Did you see the race? Or do you know anything about him, Ashley?
Yeah, no, he was another one that was very impressive. I personally backed him myself, evens the night before, with Corals, and he was very impressive. He won as well as he could have won, really. It was cool. Knife Edge came on really well. I thought Logout Island was very disappointing, actually. He didn't settle at all early in the race, and was pulling James's arms out for pretty much the whole way round. But it would have been interesting to see if the performance would have been the same from Tasleet if the race would have been run at Newbury like it should have been, rather than being at Chelmsford. Because Chelmsford's quite a tight track, so it does favour the front runners. So maybe Knife Edge would have reversed the form or reversed the placings if it was run at Newbury, which has got obviously a lot longer straight.
Definitely, I could see that. Yeah, Knife Edge was the out-and-out stayer there. Not an out-and-out stayer, but the stayer in the race, you could say. We move on next to Takdir throughout the card. He was on the same card. He was in the opener before Tasleet, actually, and I thought Takdir was actually really impressive. He came fourth in December at Wolves over 7 furlongs, up to 8 furlongs this time, over a mile. He was a favourite in the race again at 5-4, like he was when he went on his debut. he seemed to improve massively in the in this race. I thought beating just another Sheikh Hamdan horse, Mustachery. You have Tirso there who didn't perform. He he ran in a group race, but then he just blew up. I think he didn't do anything good. He came 7th out of 8th behind Gifted Master, and he hasn't improved his form at all there, upcoming 19 lengths behind Takdir. But Angus Gold was very, very happy with Takdir, and next week we're going to see potentially if he'll go to the Guineas. There's one piece of work he's going to be doing next week, as I say, and 50-1 looks quite a good price considering Angus Gold said he got definite each way and place chances. Did you see the race at all, Ashley?
Yeah, I did. Again, I was very impressed with Tagdeer. I just thought he was blew the field away really. Beating again, like you've already said, Hamdan 1-2. Paul Hannigan got on the right one this time, and he stayed very strongly and was ridden out. Touched evens, went off at 5-4. Again, he was very impressive, and it would be, if he goes to the Guineas, it would definitely spice things up.
Yes, absolutely. Maybe it would actually. Yeah. We move on to a little bit of Irish here. Actually, you're going to look at Sheikh. He came second to US Army Ranger on debut. Looked like he travelled the best horse. Looked like he was the best horse throughout the entire race on that. And when he came second, but then he came 5th to the Gurkha, who just absolutely blew him away. There were quite a few upsets. There might have been the ground, but Sheikh ran on the ground before, so I mean, the bubble's obviously been burst there. So I think you can maybe leave him out of the Derby picture this time. Not sure exactly what happened, but oh well, that's how it goes. I can't just talk about the winners all the time. We move on to Mustaji and Farawek, who ran for Owen Burrows. Mustaji ran a Stormer coming second to Ventura Storm, who has some nice form in the book. He lost by a length and a quarter. He beat Taff Keith in the process, and Mengli Khan. Mengli Khan looks one to take out of that really, but Taff Keith is a massive horse. I'm not sure how he'll go around Epsom if he does go for the Derby. Mustaji, he ran a good race. He'll definitely improve for the run. He's now fit, raring to go. Dane O'Neill gave him a nice little ride, and then Farawek came second to Castle Harbour, who looks a nice horse. The unfortunate thing for Farawek was that he came second when he probably should have won the race. He just got caught in a little pocket, and he couldn't. Paul Hannigan couldn't weave him out and make it count, but that's the name of the game sometimes. Foundation was the same, but you never know. We move on. I spoke to Owen Burrows myself, and he said both horses have come out the races really well, and he thinks he'd rather take Farawek to a maiden instead of actually going to a handicap, or before going to a handicap with him. So they've got some intentions, but they haven't actually chosen a race for them both yet. So it looks good. And then we got the the Arabians, where Hamdan had a few winners. Did you see the Arabians at all, Ashley?
I wasn't available to watch the Arabian racing at Chelmsford, although I did hear that it was a record attendance for Chelmsford on a Sunday, which is promising for the future of Arabian racing, especially in England. But I wasn't able to actually see any of the races, no.
Yeah, most definitely. It was a cracking day out. I went myself, and I thought it's such an open place, such a nice place. There's so many people there. They're willing to look at you. Well, that sounds a bit weird. Smile, talk about the racing. I spoke to a few people from Barrel Bar, really nice people, and we got chatting. It was a good day out. Sheikh Hamdan in the first race had, I think it was 6 of the 8 runners. Al Hadir won for Mr. James Owen. Emirati came second for Mr. James Owen by half a length, and then you had Mumbahir, who came third by a head for James Owen. So 1, 2, 3 for Sheikh Hamdan, Bishm Rashid Al Maktoum, and Mr. James Owen, which 10-1 on debut for Al Hadi. I think that was a promising run. Emirati should improve for the run himself as well. And it was pretty. I didn't see the race myself, so I was pretty upset about that. Sheikh Hamdan had two runners in the third race, Radames and Baum du Breuil. I hope I didn't butcher that, but 2 out of the 3, and of course the other one won in Jowdy Cairo, who was a winner for Mr. Simon Walker. He had a treble on the day, and Radames came second. It was quite a good run. He led for most of the way, but he just tired towards the end as he hadn't run for about a year. Same with Baum du Breuil, who was actually up there as well, but nothing to really note. He was 6 lengths behind Radames, who was in turn 2.5 lengths behind Jowdy Cairo, the winner. So promising runs, really. And then on to the 5th race on the card, the 340. You had Orzan and Nah for Mr. Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, or His Highness. And Orzan was trained by Mr. James Owen, and Nah was trained by Mr. Philip Collington. Orzan won by a length. He come through towards the final home straight. He was leading, and then Magazi came through and was actually leading then, and Orzan came through and won it cosily in the end by a length. He went away winning. Connections are very impressed with him, especially the jockey. Said he'll come on for the run. He should go into much better company next time, and that race looked to be much easier than it actually was for him. So overall, it was a pretty good day for His Highness Sheikh Hamdan and Mr. James Owen, I thought, on a day. So, did you have anything to talk about the Guineas, Ashley, by any chance?
Yes, the Guineas, as we all know, it's approaching the first classics of the season. Next Saturday and Sunday at Newmarket. If you can, get yourself down there. There's still plenty of tickets available. Now, the Guineas, as we know, we'll start off with the 2000 for the Colts on the Saturday. And really, everybody's just talking about this one horse called Air Force Blue out of Coolmore. If you haven't heard of it, then you must have been quite dormant on social media over the past couple of weeks, because he has been, he's the horse that everyone's talking about. He won the Dewhurst Stakes in October last year, basically beating a lot of the competition that he's going to end up racing against again on Saturday, including Emotionless, who was very disappointing on that outing, and I think you basically got to ignore that run of his and go again on him. But coming back to Air Force Blue, it could be a bad weekend for the bookies, especially with Coolmore being so successful in the past in the Guineas. He's won 4 out of his 5. He's basically everything that you want as a 2-year-old. The only horse that's quite interesting that's actually been able to beat him was Ascot. Was a horse called Burentino for Godolphin. And again, he's another one that is aiming to go for the Guineas. But last run of the season last year was second behind Shala, the horse of Al Shakab, which it's good form. But once you look at Air Force Blue's form in the Dewhurst Stakes, I mean, it's just so hard to go against him. But the market currently has him at 4-6 odds on favourite. That's with Corals. If you shop around a bit, you might get 4-5, depending on who you bet with, and that's anti-post. So come race day, I'm sure that he's going to be a massive odds on favourite. So the only real thing to do now is to try and look for an odds on for each way horse. And again, I would just keep coming back to Emotionless. I just think if you ruled his run out in the Dewhurst Stakes when he was very disappointing, just never seemed to go in the race. Buick never looked comfortable on him. But if you ignore that race and you judge him off his Doncaster appearance on Ledger Weekend, you know, he blew the field away quite impressively. Again, beating Ibn Malak by 3.5 lengths, and he ran very strongly and basically took the field away. I don't know if you've got any thoughts on the Guineas.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Air Force Blue, you can't not be impressed with what he's done so far over his 2-year-old career. He looks primed for this race, and he hasn't had a start yet, so they've obviously got this one in mind for him. Emotionless, good. Yeah, he's beaten Abdul Malik. He did come out of that race injured, as Godolphin said. As you said earlier, I'm not sure what what to make of that myself. You never know. Massat, I think, is quite a decent price at 14s. He only got beat 3 lengths by Air Force Blue, and they did come out and say he was pretty babyish then. Paul Hannigan said that in an interview, I'm pretty sure. So he could be, if he's come alight, he could definitely be up there. I quite like Simric. I have liked Simric since the beginning of his 2-year-old career. I thought it was so taking that they chuck him into a race like they did on his debut. It was they obviously knew that he'd be up to something. So yeah, I quite liked him. Mutahara, I can't not look at the Hamdan horses myself. He looks quite tasty. And then Takdir, we talked about earlier, who should have a good each way chance in the race, but obviously all the hype's going to be around Air Force Blue, who looks to be primed for it, who's been told, Aidan O'Brien fansite have said that he's a monster and all this and that, so usually they're quite right, but not always.
The only other thing that I would say about the Guineas is, for a lot of them, it's going to be their first run of the season as a 3-year-old. Not every horse as a 2-year-old will train on to become a successful 3-year-old. This has been evident in the past on a number of occasions. You can have one of the best 2-year-olds ever not train on over the winter, and in a 3-year-old you'll find it going in a class 4 at Sandown or somewhere like that. So, but then again, that can happen in the reverse. You can have a not very promising 2-year-old and has a very good winter, trains on very well, strengths, conditions very well, and you could get something coming out of the bigger rods that could end up being something half decent. I remember when Henry the Navigator won, again another Cornwall horse. He hadn't had the best of preparations, and he was going up against a New Approach in that race, and everyone considered it a 1-horse race. And Henry the Navigator was very impressive in the 2008 Guineas. So it's always a hard one to come up with because of it being so early in the season when it is, and for the majority it is their first run as a 3-year-old. But it should be a good weekend, and if all goes to plan, then we should see a Cornwall winner in the Guineas.
Yeah, you'd say so. Even in the 1,000 Guineas, they got a quite good chance in Minding, don't you think?
Well, this is what the bookies are running scared of. You see that pair of Coolmore, O'Brien's. What are the punters are doing? They're doubling them up, and if that comes in, that could be a big threat for the bookies. This is what was said on Channel 4 from Paddy Power. Punters are just doubling them up because backing Air Force Blue on its own isn't worth it. It's pretty much considered, so it'll be an interesting one. First of all, you've got to look at Minding. Whilst we're talking about Coolmore, again, won the Fillies Mile back in October. It was very impressive. Won exactly how a favourite should, really. Winning by 4.5 lengths. Interesting to see that the horse in behind her was Nafra for Frankie Dettori and John Gosden, who actually ran. I think she ran last week at Newmarket in the Craven meet, and she won in the Craven. So she's had a run as a 3-year-old. The form's still there. She won it very impressively. She kind of won going away, really, and there was, from about 2 furlongs out, you could pick the winner if you hadn't even looked at the form book. So yeah, it was impressive. But yeah, it's what you've got to look at, and it's just hard to find something else that goes against Coolmore again. But for me, Nafra would be the thing that would cause the most damage to Minding. I think if she breaks well, and if she is able to go on a relatively strong pace, then yeah, she should be there or thereabouts come the finish.
Yeah, definitely. She's a little little thing, isn't she? Really, that's one of the things I'd be quite scared about. The one I absolutely love is Lumiere. Gorgeous looking grey, fantastic 2-year-old season, and I mean it's better value than the 7-4. Really, you can nick 5-1 with Paddy's on Lumiere. So I mean, I'd prefer to take that because she had a nice gallop. Mark Johnson said the other day. So yeah, you can't not be impressed with her 2-year-old season. The things she done. Bashara didn't really frank the form for her on the all-weather, but I don't think Bashara liked the all-weather personally.
No, I would agree 100% with that. I think if the race was run at Newbury as it was scheduled to, I think we would be talking about this a whole different outcome. Bringing back to that race quite nicely though, Marenko, I thought she was very impressive, and it's interesting to see that if she would actually go to the Guineas. Whether she would handle the challenging conditions of Newmarket is set to be said. She's never won at Newmarket. Her first race there was actually very disappointing when she was last. But she's a different type of animal now, and she's another one that could come on and could end up being half decent.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't really like the way Alex Springs went about her business last time out. I watched it and obviously nothing there. Ballydoyle had a good 2-year-old career. Do you think she'll go up against Minding?
It's hard to see. Currently with Corals, she is. Where's she gone? I did have her. She's 8-1 currently with Corals. Be interesting. Obviously, Ryan Moore is going to have the pick, and with him picking Minding, which is a 99% guarantee, I think that goes to show the strength of the Ballydoyle hand in this race. Minding is another one. It's hard to weigh them up, especially because we haven't seen Minding as a 3-year-old yet. She hasn't run since October. But apparently, coming out of Coolmore, all word is good, and Ballydoyle's a nice horse, but I think it's going to take something special to topple the favourite on this one.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't really seen anything that could topple the top two. Really, I wasn't blown away with Nafra's run, so we've got that to look at. Did you have any others for the Guineas meeting?
Not for the Guineas itself, and of course for the other races we'll find out more either on next week's episode. When we get a few more insights as to what's actually been declared, and who's riding what, and it'd be interesting to see if a number of ones that we've spoken about today do actually end up going for the Guineas.
Yeah, it would be nice.
Would be interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait for it myself. I'm actually going to go there. My first time ever going to Newmarket to watch a racing, which should be good.
Oh, you'll love it. The Guineas Day is an absolutely fantastic day out. I am looking to go. It just depends on a few things.
Yes.
But no, it is a very good day out, and I have been before in the past, and it's a very good day out, and you will love it.
Definitely. So, did you actually pick a horse to follow for this season? Yep.
Well, obviously the standout horse to follow, by the sounds of things, is going to be Air Force Blue. Depending on how he runs in the Guineas, obviously he'll then go on to the Derby meeting. If things all go to plan, he would be the horse to follow. But everyone could follow him. So I'm actually going to go with Burantino as my horse to follow for Godolphin as a 3-year-old. His form is inconsistent, we can say that. As we saw last year, won the Coventry Stakes with ease, really. And then, he's never finished outside the top 3, which is good going, considering he's had 8 runs. So he's got 100% placement record. He would definitely be the one to follow, but it depends. Again, it depends on how he goes in the Guineas as well.
Yeah, for sure. I've been looking around here just now, and I've seen the Jockey Club stakes. And I just had a look at the little betting, and they got Jack Hobbs who could potentially be out on the 30th of April against Second Step and Firefighting. There's only one price up from Betfair, and they have Jack Hobbs at 4-9 with Firefighting at 14-5. Not sure what to make of that, but
Well,
there's only one winner in here, really. If you think,
if you look at the odds, don't you? I mean, and the way Jack Hobbs was last season was just impressive, wasn't it? I mean, when winning the Arc, blowing Trevor away, really. And that was a fantastic ride by Frankie Dettori. I think I would probably say one of the best rides I've ever seen. You know, drawn wide, stayed out wide for a long, long time. Didn't let anyone battle. He ended up taking. So again, he was very well.
Yeah.
As I've just realised, I was talking about a different animal. That was Golden Hall.
Yeah, but Jack Hobbs did run well behind him.
He did, yeah.
I think the blue colours, once they get bought by them, they weigh so heavily on them. It's something. It gives them like an extra £10, really.
Yeah.
I do like Godolphin. I love them, but they do have a knack of. Yeah, they're not bad at what they do. They're amazing. One of the world's best, probably the best. But once they buy a horse, it's end of really there. Look at Ribchester over in France. He ran a good race, but disqualified and whatnot. It's just, I'm not sure myself when they buy a horse. I mean, they bought You Do Don't You, and he's been a revelation for them. But
yeah, he was one that was very impressive out in Dubai, and it'll be good to see him this year. But what will be interesting with Godolphin is, you know, this is the first season with John Ferguson like heading up the helm, as you like it. So this might be a transition year for Godolphin. You know, they're narrowing their focus back to the Group 1 Class 1s rather than the all-weather racing.
Yeah, I thought that would have been last season, really, but
yeah, but you know, these things take time. I mean,
group winners from them, like top Group 1 performers.
It's hard to. I mean, you go back to the last actual Godolphin Group 1 winner, and like the one that was very standout impressive, and you have to go with Dawn Approach, but you know they bought that over the winter, and you know, it stayed with Jim Bolger, so.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember really.
£10 on them.
I can't really remember the last time Saeed bin Sarur or Charlie Appleby had a Group 1 Class 1 winner that blew my mind away.
Yeah. I mean, Tristle's a good performer in Dubai, but never going to be top class considering the way you have him so far off the pace. But
yeah.
Oh well, that's the way he's ridden and whatnot. I personally would have him sitting just behind the front lead horse, but there's another topic for another day, I guess.
A track that would suit Tristan very well would be a track with a very long straight. So Ascot, with in mind, Newmarket. You know, these where, especially ones that are coming uphill. Epsom would be another good track. You know, that's when the the horses that have gone to the front quite early on, they'll begin to tire unless they're a natural stayer, and that's when his turn of foot. I mean, it is impressive, but he's very difficult to ride. He's very complicated.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to see if they took him to the front, would he still be half as good as what he is coming from the back? You know. Yeah. Does he have to always be ridden like that, or is that just how he's been chosen to be ridden?
Exactly,
yeah, and that's another one, but again, like you said, it's a conversation for another day.
Yeah. So, I'm going to move on to the Horse Fantasy League here. How did you get on? Did you do well?
I'm not doing too bad. I'm currently on 166 points at the minute.
I'm not,
sorry, that's you.
Me.
That's you. You're on 166. I'm on 219. Yeah, Andrea Razzini, I thought he would have. We must point out this was only up until Sunday night, so Monday's meetings haven't been put into this chart yet. So I know Andrea Hazzini has now had a winner, but when when this was totaled up and ready to talk about, he hadn't had a winner. So I'm hoping that he's going to pick up a few more winners for Roger Varian. And Al Shakab, I could really do with Al Shakab's entries to start. Up for Frankie Dettori. How about you? What do you need?
I thought I was doing quite well, but then I actually had a look at my points and I weren't doing that well. Roger Varian's only on 6 points. I think he's had about 3 runners.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one that comes a lot later on.
Yeah, and I didn't really take that into consideration at the moment. James Dorr hasn't had many rides either, but I'm doing quite well with Sheikh Hamdan. 55 points up there with Paul Hannigan on 45, so we're doing quite well, I think. We're getting there slowly but surely. It's quite an effort to track, but we're getting there. There's a few that I can't actually find, like Middleham Park Racing. There's so many of them. They got like V for like one person that's got a share and a horse, and then for another person that has a different share, it'll be like VI or something ridiculous. So I can't keep track of every single one. It's quite hard to find, but it's going quite well.
Yeah,
I did
make the jockeys is quite easy.
Pardon?
Luckily for me, the jockeys is quite easy to follow.
Yeah. There's only a few owners that have actually been picked, so that's quite helpful. I mean, as we kind of predicted when we were setting the Horse Fantasy League up, that it would be majority Qatar, Godolphin, Coolmore. Yeah. Just so everyone knows as well, it's only going to be 2 weeks with a week break, so it's not too hard on everyone actually working on it. So this Saturday coming up, that's going to be the end of it for 2 weeks, and the winner will get a little prize, and then we'll go on to the next week, which will just be a break for us, and then the week after that, after the Guineas, I think that's the week after the Guineas, or
that's correct. Because the Guineas, if we're both at the Guineas, that's going to be far too hard for us to track as well. So
yeah, and I think I'll actually do it on a Monday this time instead of a Saturday, so it's not too frantic.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hopefully that clears some stuff up. And with the Coolmore, we've just put everyone under Coolmore that has the Smith, Magnia, Tabor, them. So it makes it a little easier on us and everyone else, and you get a little more points for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's quite fun. I like seeing it because Dermot Weld had like 32 points within like the first 3-4 days.
Yeah, he has a lot of runners over in Ireland, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then they've had only like 2 meetings since, and he's only got 6-7 points. It was nuts.
It's just how it falls, I guess. It's just how it falls. But Pat Smullen is he's currently second in the standings behind Ryan Moore.
Yeah,
Pat Smullen's on 50 points because he's just riding horses constantly in Ireland. I mean, I think it was at Navan the other day. He had 5 rides out of 7. And then there was meetings in the UK that are still getting called off remarkably because of waterlogged tracks. Newbury being the key one from last week, and that's another thing. That's another thing for the Guineas. Really, is if we have a sudden downpour in rain at Newmarket, is the soft ground going to affect some horses more than other?
Yeah, exactly. This is what I'm so afraid about, but you never know.
No, you never know, and it will be what it will be. You can't control the weather. It's one of those things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just going to move on to a little bit of the Shadwell sales, because we had a few at Goffs. I haven't actually had a look today myself. I have to see. I think that's tomorrow, if I'm correct. I can't remember, or it might have been today actually, because I've had a day off, so I've been lazy today anyway. But the Craven Breeze Up, Shadwell purchased 2 horses for an average of 210,000 guineas, one for 220,000 guineas, and the other 200,000 guineas. Do you know why they're called guineas at all?
I know that was the currency for when racing first started for the Kings. That was just the currency that they settled on.
Yes.
That's hence the name why we have the classics, the 2,000 and 1,000 guineas, because that was the prize pool when that race was first started. It was 2,000 guineas for the Saturday race and the 1,000 guineas for the Sunday, and it's good that we've kept that tradition in racing. It's a very
Yeah,
important thing.
yeah, exactly. To my understanding, a guineas is £1 and 12 shillings or something, or 4 shillings. I can't remember
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
Something.
slightly over a pound.
Yeah, and it's good. I like it. I like how they've kept that going. They need to do that more. But Lot 46 was purchased by Simon Crisford for Shadwell, a more than ready colt by Limonar, who cost 220,000 guineas. Simon said he breathes well and he liked the colt a lot. He bought for Shadwell and hopefully will take it to fancy races and move on from there. So, yeah, he looks quite good. I was quite impressed with the breeze up myself. And pretty damn rapid, if I'm honest. And then Lot 118 was Helmet colt, chestnut colt, for 200,000 guineas out of Vivid Blue. Brought by Shadwell, consigned by Powerston Stud. Vivid Blue is a broodmare by Haft. Obviously, everyone knows who that is. So it's an incredible family. 200,000 guineas for him, sorry. And he looks absolutely gorgeous. I thought we'll see how that goes in the future. Did you see anything at the breeze up at all? Did you?
I didn't know. I wasn't able to actually attend the breeze up. But while we're on the topic of sales, I would just like to point out there for any listeners in Dubai, there's a sale on Thursday at Meydan in the pre-parade ring. It starts at 6 o'clock. Get yourself down there if you can. You don't have to go down there with the intention of buying a horse, but it's a good evening out. You'll see some very nice horses over there. There's a lot of ex-Godolphin horses that are going in the ring to be sold. You never know, and if you are looking to buy one and get into racing, you do qualify for the UAE bonus, which I don't know if many viewers will know about, so I'll just touch on it very briefly. If you buy a horse from a UAE sale, there is a certain amount of conditions that you must keep the horse within the UAE for 2 seasons. But if that horse then goes on to subsequently win any race in the UAE, you get a bonus of 15,000 dirhams, which is roughly around £2,500 to £3,000, depending on the exchange rate. But yeah, going on the sales, some very nice ones. It's the last one until December, so be interesting to see if any subsequent movers are there for the next UAE racing season.
Yeah, definitely. That looks good. There were a few last time. I know. I think Tag Seed may have been sold, which actually upset me massively because I love Tag Seed. He's a gorgeous looking horse. He doesn't win often, but he won 2 in a row within a week. And then I think Sheikh Hamdan sold him. I'm not sure about that, but you never know. We'll find out. But yeah, that's a good idea from them. It's to build up sales, isn't it? Really, there's not many syndicates I've seen out there. I've only seen the one.
Well, there's the one out there, which is the Emirates Racing Club Syndicate, EERC, formerly known. But again, that's the main syndicate out there. There is a couple more coming, and I know that there is definitely one more in the pipeline.
So if you want to own a horse in the UAE,
get yourself into a syndicate. Just drop myself or Alex a message over Twitter on our Twitter handles, and we'll give you all the information you need to get into racing in the UAE and of course in the UK as well. But it's a lot easier to get into a syndicate in the UK. Syndicates are very difficult in Dubai, but they are coming and they are a bit aggressive.
Am I wrong here, or are the entries in the UAE free? I might be completely wrong, but
they are free to an extent. A lot of it is free entry, free to declare. Apart from obviously World Cup night, where everything's different on World Cup night. You do have to pay to have your horse entered.
Yeah.
Especially if you receive how you get a horse into World Cup night is you get an invitation normally 2 to 3 weeks in advance of the World Cup itself. It goes off the carnival itself, or if you're an international runner, 9 times out of 10, California Chrome was invited. When the thing was born, probably because it's what Dubai likes. But postponed. He got his invitation in October to run in the Dubai turf.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's how it works out. But if you get a late invitation, then you do have to pay. But for every standard meeting, it's free entry, free to declare, or a maximum, it's about £25 for a group race. So it's
Quite
really
different
not.
then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nothing compared to what syndicates and owners and trainers have to pay in the UK. And of course, in Dubai as well, the prize money is very good. You know,
Unbelievable.
on average, for a class four at Jebel Ali or Abu Dhabi, the prize money for the winner is about upwards of £10,000 sometimes. So
Yeah.
you compare that to a class four at Chelmsford or Great Yarmouth or somewhere like that, where sometimes you get £2,000 and
You'd have to run it 5 times.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, it's nice. Guess who was the leading owner of the UAE Racing Carnival season?
ooh, I wonder who that would have been. Um,
Only himself, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al
yeah, it
Maktoum.
would have.
But I digress. I don't like to boast.
Well, all you can say is there was a lot of owners in the UAE this season that, let's say,
It's good. It's opening up. There's a lot more social media now to it, I think, and
there is
yeah,
racing as well. Now that they're able to live stream their coverage of the racing.
yeah. For a good week on the UAE racing competition, I was getting a good about 80 odd people joining in. It's hard for me to follow because
Yeah,
obviously I'm just writing it down whenever I get time at work and whatnot, but it's a good crack. I like it. It makes it a lot more enjoyable, I think, because that way you don't have to actually spend any money or anything like that. You
yeah,
have
no,
fun. Like even people in the UAE can have fun backing not even backing a horse, selecting a horse and then going through the paces like that.
yeah, yeah. Well, as you found out, yourself when you went out there for the Dubai World Cup, which I'm sure you enjoyed. You don't have to you don't bet in Dubai, obviously for certain reasons. So you have a pick six competition similar to what we run on the Twitter handle, and yeah, it's a very good way of keeping racing fun, which is what it's meant to be.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're doing here with the horse fantasy league as well.
Yeah, exactly. Keep your thoughts
Anyway.
coming in using the hashtag.
Yes. Anyway, let's move on. I
Let's-
had one horse to follow. I picked one horse, a 2-year-old horse. I've picked anyway. You've gone for Buratino this season. I'm going
Yeah.
for Nassim. See the Stars, John Gosden, Sheikh Hamdan bin Rashid Al Maktoum, lovely brown colt. So he's by Chiazina. I hope I'm saying that right. Well, out of Chiazina, sorry, by See the Stars. He's a half brother to Mixed Intention, who won 3 starts out of 11. Won the Prix de la Californie, Prix de la Coche, 2 listed races. Came second in a Group 2 and 2 Group 3s. So the first foal for Chiazina was quite well received. And then she also had Mixed Evidence, who won 2 races, nothing notable there really. And then Meritocracy, who won 3 races out of 27 for Paul Cole. They're all by Elusive City and Caliph. They're not See the Stars now, are they? So See the Stars, completely different. And Sheikh Hamdan has Nassim in training with John Gosden. And Nassim has a 2017 Investec Derby Group 1 entrance. So for me, that's going to be a 2-year-old I'd like to follow throughout the season. And I definitely think it's going to be exciting to see that one.
Yeah, definitely.
So, for me anyway, I think that pretty much wraps up this little Shadwell Scoop. Just a little tester to see what's out there. Just to see who's actually interested in how we go about things here. Been quite enjoyable, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Hopefully, we've given some very good information and some nice tips for the upcoming Guineas. And as you quite rightly said, the fantasy league, the first stage comes to a close this week. So
Yes. Gonna try and get another Shadwell Scoop out for next week. There's a few maiden 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. And just before the Guineas, we'll try and get one out, and then we can have a better viewpoint on the actual Guineas, and we don't have to guess who's going to it. Either one, really, do we?
No, we will have the full declaration list by that time.
Yes, definitely. Anyway, thank you for listening from me, Al Maktoum Racing Fan Club, or as you may know me, Alex, and thank you to Ashley for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.